everyone, welcome to our next episode of Aria's More Than One video series where we go inside the different nationalities and culture of the AAPI community. It is very important for all of us to understand the Asian American Pacific Islanders are not just one homogeneous group. In fact, there are so many different nationality and languages that we have spoken within our 17,000 ARIA members. So I'm thrilled to welcome a very good friend, Tina Mack, the incomparable Tina Mack, to talk with me about our own Hong Kong. Hong Kong has emerged as one of the business capitals of the world and a place where the political climate with China are a major driver of immigration pattern to the US and Canada. So we are going to learn a lot and have fun on this call, right, Tina?
Yes, Amy. Miss President Amy, thanks for your amazing leadership during this unprecedented time. But as a Chinese, I'm actually beyond sad to see this pandemic has turned into an anti-racism journey. So I'm so grateful to your leadership to build this More Than One video series to educate and share the AAPI cultures with those who serve this dynamic community. So I'm so excited to be here to share information about Hong Kong and how Hong Kongers have impacted North America housing, both in the US and Canada.
We both were born and raised in Hong Kong. You said you were raised in the quote and unquote concrete jungle of Hong Kong. Can you put in context how Hong Kong compares to North America cities?
I would say Hong Kong to me is like mini New York City. I've heard other interviews, like many Asian vibrant cities, they usually compare their city with the New York City. So what the similarity that I see that between Hong Kong and New York City, number one, just like you mentioned, concrete jungle. The other one is amazing shopping. Number three is big neon signs. And number four, street activities, tons of street activities. Number five, which is the last one that I noticed, is the crowd of people constantly on the streets at any given time.
As I just mentioned, Hong Kong has a tie to Britain, and the outward migration has been fairly regular for a long, long time. Can you describe a little bit about that?
Well, we call it British Hong Kong then at that time, right? So British Hong Kong was a colony and dependent territory of the British Empire from 1841 to 1997. So it's 156 years. Apart from the brief period under Japanese occupations from 1941 to 1945, then the British administration resumed after the surrender of Japan. So the colonial period began with the occupations of Hong Kong Island and expanded to Kowloon Peninsula, then further extended to new territories, a suburb area in Hong Kong. So Britain ran Hong Kong for that long, like 156 years, as I mentioned. The whole territory was transferred back to China in 1997. So under the British rules, we didn't have any democracy like people thought. But it's not all bad thing because the British rule brought liberties, social reform, and most importantly to us, economic prosperity.
So I know that you came to North America out of love, right? Your ex-husband lived in Vancouver. So why do most of the other Hong Kongers come to North America?
Well, the Hong Kong mass migrations wave began in 1967. So the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989, June 4th, well, that was the day, but a period of time in Beijing triggered mass migrations in the 90s. So mostly the Hong Kongers, they went to, or they go to still, Canada, Australia, and other Commonwealth realms were the primary destinations for migration at the time. Metro Vancouver, where I am, and Greater Toronto area are the most popular cities in Canada. So for US, San Francisco, New York are also very popular to the Hong Kong people. So we have about 320,000 Hong Kong Canadians returned back to Hong Kong. after 1997 because they see Hong Kong as a better place to make money. So, however, we recently see a steady flow of Hong Konger leaving Hong Kong for Vancouver and Toronto due to the political turmoil in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. There is a lot of these Hong Kong people started to come back to the US, well, for the future generation, for education or for better living, right?
Yeah.
So you feel that Canada was out in front of the US in welcoming us. What is the reason for that?
I think the major reason is because Canada is an immigrant's country. It is much easier to immigrate to Canada than to US. It takes like forever. Don't talk about now. Even back then, 30 years, 40 years ago, I mean, you need to have relatives in US and still takes you about 10 years to wait to go to US. So in Canada, the birth rate is only 1.5 births per woman, comparing to, well, you guys are not really that much more, but still more, because US is 1.73 in US. So our recent report said that in the next 22 years, Canada will have, we will have another 8 million immigrants coming to Canada. 8 million is like moving the whole Hong Kong to Canada. So 1 in every 4 people is an immigrant in in Canada.
So can you explain how Canada welcomed the talent, including engineers, and how so many from Hong Kong follow relatives to Canada than in the US? I remember back in the old days, in the late 80s, a lot of these professional researcher or professional secretaries were wanted by the Canadian government from Hong Kong. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, of course, it has changed. So we want to have more young people coming here to Canada, and not just the different types of categories, because Canada, both Vancouver and Toronto, has become like a Silicon Valley North, and a lot of the high-tech company has moved or set up their like different offices in both Metro Vancouver and Greater Toronto. So our government actually said on June 8th, our federal government announced 2 streams of Hong Kong residents who are currently in Canada can apply for permanent residence under one of the 2 situations. So number 1, they already lived in Canada as Canada graduates. So number 2 is Canadian work experience. So this new policy will in effect from June 1st, 2021 to August 31st, 2026. So during this period of time, like this policy is specifically for Hong Kong residents. And, like whatever the skill, whatever that is, the door in Canada is wide open for the Hong Kongers.
So congratulations. That means there is a lot more potential buyers. So you have built much of your real estate business on working with those from back home, right? So
Yeah.
when Hong Kong people come to Vancouver, it seems like they're buying luxury homes right away. How does this happen?
Well, I would say yes and no to this luxury property. The reason why I'm saying that is because I noticed in the past 29 years of my career, I noticed the price for Chinese immigrants, regardless they're coming from Hong Kong, Taiwan, or China now, their budget average around 3 million Canadians, okay, give and take. So in the old days, one could buy a luxury detached home for 3 million. However, the housing value in Metro Vancouver and Greater Toronto has appreciated so much in the last 30 years, at least as far as I see it, especially in Metro Vancouver. So 3 million can no longer buy luxury detached house. It is more like for a luxury condo.
All right. So how does our Hong Kong heritage play a role in homeownership?
Well, let's put it this way. Chinese doesn't like to rent. Okay. And if we rent, we won't rent for a long time. Chinese wants to own properties, right? So affluent parents will also help with the cost. However, parents now worries about the help paying the down payment for the single child, but worries about the children's common law or their future spouse might end up sharing the wealth if things doesn't work out for them. So Chinese used to like paying all cash, but with today's ridiculously low interest rate, better use the bank's money instead of their own money. So the Hong Konger can make easier adjustment in North America comparing to the Chinese from Taiwan and China, because we learn English under the British rules during the British colony time. And so our English is better. And culturally, we have been aligned for so long with the UK. So it's much easier for us to adapt, the North American lifestyle.
Do the first and second generation Hong Kong people wanted to be closer to family? I know that here in America that I can see new immigrant always wanted to be closer to their family or relatives so as to start, adopting the lifestyle and all kinds of stuff. And is it the same here in Canada that you can see?
So yes, we want to live close together, and yet I don't think that we are multi-generations home type of people. So like myself and my mom, okay? So my mom and I, we both live separately. So at the age of 86, my mom does not want me to move in with her. So, so I have seen the Hong Kong men are willing to stay in their new home with the family. So those are the one that is from Hong Kong, okay? So they like to, they're more willing to stay in Canada. And I think that probably in US, the same situation too, comparing to the men from China and Taiwan who are more wanting or willing to go back home to their home country to make money. So I call them astronauts. So there are more split and satellite families, for those Chinese coming from Taiwan and Hong Kong. But the Hong Kong man's willing to stay.
Thank you so much for your time, but I wanted to have some fun time with you. So I'm going to ask you a lightning round of question and answer. Okay, you get ready?
I'll try my best.
All right. Number one, what is your favorite food from back home?
鱼腸粉.
All right, so that's the steamed rice roll, everybody. So what is your favorite American or Canadian food?
Swordfish. I love seafood.
Okay. What is your favorite song from Hong Kong? And can you sing a little bit?
Well, I'm not too sure about singing today.
But what is your favorite song?
My favorite song is from the singer called Sally Yip, Yip Sin Man. And then her song is 今天要走. I gotta leave today.
I gotta leave today, right? So can you sing a little bit?
Okay. Okay. 我今天要走，我只得一個要求，求別要臨行時又回首。That's it.
Wow, that's nice. Okay, another one. Favorite thing you learned to do as a young lady that you still do today?
Shopping. That's what Hong Kong's for.
So how's your shopping story in Hong Kong compared to North America?
Well, I would say a store like Lane Crawford is kind of like equivalent to Saks Fifth Avenue. Would you say?
Okay.
Similar?
Well, Tina Mac, it's always fun to be with you, right?
It's always fun to be with the Aria family.
Okay, so we have too much fun, and I hope everyone enjoyed it and also learned something about Hong Kong. I always say Aria is my family. So, Tina, can you close this segment by saying we are family in Cantonese?
Aria 係個大家庭。
Okay, thank you so much. And I love you, Tina. Thank you so much for
Love
your
you
time.
too.
And I'm looking forward in seeing everybody. So have a great day, everyone.